You only have one life. Have you spent your time well? Bittersweet memories, a stale romance, and what could turn out to be a bad choice made so many years ago. These are just some words to describe the epic love story that is Before Midnight, the film to conclude one of my favourite trilogies ever made. In this video I'm going to walk you through what separates a good trilogy from a perfect trilogy, how filmmaking styles might change from film to film, scene to scene, or even shot to shot, and also break down how this Before Trilogy is actually one of the best showcases of character development in cinema. This is why I love Before Midnight. Okay, so let's talk about the music. If you've seen any of my videos, you know the impact that music has on films. A song or a score can completely change a film, in obvious ways like this.
Here's Johnny! Here's Johnny!
Or even using music that fits the film, but it does still change it, like this example.
June 29th. I gotta get in shape now. Too much sitting has ruined my body. Too much abuse has gone on for too long. From now on, it'll be 50 push-ups each morning. 50 pull-ups. June 29th. I gotta get in shape now. Too much sitting has ruined my body. Too much abuse has gone on for too long. From now on, it'll be 50 push-ups each morning. 50 pull-ups.
Music is power. And I've said this many times. The absence of music is power as well. It's power to change many things about the film. Richard Linklater makes this choice not to include music in the opening scene, unlike the other two counterparts to the trilogy. Why and how did this change the film? In context of the Before Trilogy, it refers to the point that I've been making throughout the 3 videos of Before Midnight. Natural progression in film. There's been stages of this progression, but it's finally found itself in realism. How does no music at the beginning make a film more realistic? It's hard to explain. Here's my best attempt at making up an analogy that can describe it. Imagine this. You're on a bus. It's raining. Maybe it's more than rain now. It's sleet. The ride is smooth, the passengers aren't rowdy, and it's nice. You put in your earbuds, soft, sad jazz starts playing, and you watch the blurry streets pass you by. Without music, you're just on a bus. Sure, all the same things are nice, but with music, you become the main character. So to start both Before Sunrise and Sunset with music creates a completely different tone in comparison to Before Midnight. It strips all the romance out of it. It's realistic. It's the bus ride without music. 4 minutes into the movie, finally music enters. It's more grounded piano piece, but it still has hints of that classical and baroque style, referencing the other film scores. The introduction of music at this point really works with the visuals. Finally introducing Celine. Perhaps just a little bit of you is transported back to the romanticism of the first films. Music is used throughout the film in a very minimalist way, again reinforcing the grounded tone of this movie. And this minimalist music helps pack a punch when the score is brought back in and it feels more prominent towards the end, bringing back the romanticism of the films. This audibly tells us that they're back. They're the same people from the first film, yet with growth. This film is chock full of so much great cinematography, visual storytelling that I could talk about it for hours, pointing out random symbolisms and techniques used, but for the sake of my DaVinci Resolve edit page and your ears, I'll only talk about what stood out most. Firstly, and most obviously, the big difference between this movie and the others is that it's shot on digital, not film. This film was shot on the pretty much industry standard Arri Alexa. This helps this film feel more modern, more grounded, and if I'm being honest, the colour grades didn't stand out too much either. They were simple, they helped serve the story. To match the new look of this movie, the filming style changes a bit as well. The scene that summarises this change happens pretty early on in the film. The car scene. One camera, one shot, one angle. That is all it takes to tell a compelling story. It's up to you whether you can make a compelling story, and Richard Linklater can. If you can keep me captivated with just one shot and watching someone else's conversation, you're doing pretty well, especially a very mundane conversation like the one they're having in the car. But I think what this scene does most importantly shows us where Jesse and Celine are in their relationship. Now don't get me wrong, they're not pulling a Charlie Chaplin or doing like a performative dance to visually convey this information. No, it's technically done through dialogue, but that's not why I love this scene. It's the one camera angle. It's raw. You can't not see it. You can't not see the tension, the strain on their relationship. It's all there in that one frame. Some artists paint paintings with as few brush strokes as they can. Why? It's to learn the guts of what makes their composition compelling. Linklater knows the guts of this scene. He knows the guts of his composition. He knows there's no point in cutting the scene in a traditional way, with reaction shots or over-the-shoulder shots. You must know why you are shooting a scene like that. If you're able to convey the same message and themes and conflicts in one frame, do it. Richard Linklater has known this for a long time, it seems. This filming technique is mirrored in the first film, when they're in the record shop. And notice how it achieves very different things. One tells a story of love growing, and one tells a story of love growing apart. To me, they are both perfect scenes. So all these changes of filming styles, cameras used, and the cinematography, what does it achieve? Yes, you guessed it, the overarching theme of realism. I'm sure you're sick of hearing that word, but to me it's what this trilogy was trying to do. A romanticized film at the very start, it's a classic rom-com done really well through good writing, great acting. The second film elaborates on that, but it's not exactly the same. We see people grow, and it's more, I can't even describe why, but it's more realistic. And by this film, I feel like, obviously it's still a movie, but it's as grounded in reality as a film can really get. And so realism in film is told visually most of the time. And here's a few things I noticed. I noticed nudity was used for the first time in the trilogy. I think it doesn't often add anything of substance to a film. It's just used to get more ticket sales, most prolifically in like 80s horror films. But sometimes in films, it can be beautiful and it can actually add something to the story, like the draw me like one of your French girl scenes in Titanic. And in this case, it helps tell the story by highlighting the mundanity of their relationship. At risk of being crude, sex and nudity in their relationship is just mundane and it's routine. It's all very casual. They're just going through the steps of getting undressed while even just having a normal conversation. I think this adds to the film in a way to show the romance has kind of died for a while. In the first and second film, sex is really romanticized. It's really used to show their love. But by this film, that's just kind of gone. And it shows that their romance has died for a while. So I think it's a great example of actually using nudity in a way that adds to the story. And while on the topic of sexuality, in this film we have to talk about Jesse's lack of monogamy. It's actually set up in that long car scene. We see the tension or the strain on their relationship build as they joke about how he ogles women. And we actually see this in action later. I think it's all said between the lines that Jesse may have cheated on Celine. I think the messiness in the relationship in this movie is really great. It shows their growing separation, especially through small visual things like this. Through the beautiful cinematography and great visual storytelling, this film is one to remember. In any case, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.